the teachings that don't involve the self tend not to be very good at dealing with the fear of death. So if you've got a teaching just pointing out that there's no self, there's no one here, or there's no doer, that's great. But they don't tend to remove the fear of death. So
I think that if I could
go within,
get...
discover the self. Go within, discover the self. Yes, Sebastian, sorry. Yes, talk, please.
No, I was just saying that I think two things. Firstly, I think that if I could get that there was no one here, if I could get that there is no doer, I can see how that would get rid of the fear. And it's always the same question with me is, and I'm not, is, yeah, I agree with you, but I just don't seem to be able to get it. Or I'm too lazy, I'm not focused, I'm give up too easily, or whatever you want to say, is I already agree with you. I already have a level of faith that says, yeah, what Tom's saying is true,
Yeah.
but I can't seem to get it.
No. So do you remember what we said last week? We said you couldn't get it. You can't get it.
Well, at the moment, I can't get it. I mean, I'm not.
No, it's impossible for the you to get this. It's impossible for the you that's trying to get this.
Okay.
Have you heard about the story of the thief that everyone was trying to catch? And the thief pretended it was the policeman, and then came back and told the group, "Oh yeah, I've got the thief. He's gone now. Stick by me. I'll make sure you're all safe." So it was a thief pretending to be the policeman. And now you think you're safe now because the policeman's told you everything's fine, but that's just a thief dressed up. That's what the ego's like. The ego's like, I just need to figure this out. If I could just see this, you see, but that's the ego. That's not you. That which is looking is the ego. That which is seeking is the ego. The ego can't get this. The ego is just an appearance. Not real. Just an appearance. The ego can't get this. Never will get this. The ego is saying, ego means, to put it simply, it's not wholly accurate, but it's largely accurate. Put it simply, ego is thought. Yeah, thought is saying, if only I could do this, that, and the other. Thought's never going to get this. The most that thought can do is get the concept of this, and then go beyond the concept. When I say go beyond the concept, that means go beyond thought. So thought can't go beyond thought. Ego is thought. Ego can't get this. Thought can't get this. Ego is thought. The Sebastian that's looking is thought. It's thought Sebastian. It's ego Sebastian. That's the thief. That's the thief that's robbing your bliss, your true nature. And then the ego is saying, let me try and figure this out. If only I could get this. But that's the ego. The solution is to be still. Remove thoughts. Reduce thoughts, slowly, bit by bit. Have faith in Ramana. Have faith in yourself. That in which the thoughts are appearing is you. That is already whole complete. You are, regardless of what's happening, you are. Unblemished, untarnished, unaffected. You never do a thing, you're always watching. You're always at peace. Don't pay attention to the thoughts. You'll never get this. meaning the mind will never get this. You don't need to get this. You just need to get rid of the thoughts that say, I need to get this. You just need to get rid of the thoughts that say, I need to get something. I need to do this. I need to do that. There's a teaching. You don't need to be this or be that. Just be. Do not take yourself to be this or that. Just be. Do not take yourself to be the body, mind. Be. Do not have doubts about this teaching. That's the ego. Be. People used to ask Ramana, but is it even possible to do this, do that? He says, without even having the doubt, the thought's doubt. The doubt is a thought, right? Without even having the thought, doubt, the doubting thought, be. Have faith in what you are. When you have faith in what you are, you don't need the thought, you don't need the thinking. The thinking is only there because you don't have faith in what you are. You get rid of the thinking, you discover what you are. You won't discover it, not the thought. The thoughts won't discover it. You'll discover what you are because what you are is what you are, and it shines when the thoughts aren't being paid attention to. In Who Am I, Ramana said, the entire point of all the teachings is to make the mind still. When you realize that this is the point of all the teachings, then why go on reading the books? Why go on endlessly asking questions? That's the thief pretending to be the policeman. You just continue the ego. When you start thinking about this and that and the world, all the worldly affairs, then you're actually egoic in this sense. Later on, you can, when you realize, you can then think about the worldly affairs again, but you're free. You're not caught up in it. It's not egoic. But as a spiritual seeker, your job is not to think about all the worldly affairs, but to go within. Because these things are keeping you trapped and bound. Because whenever you think, you're actually perpetuating the I am the body concept, which is ignorance. Can you get this, Sebastian?
No.
Good. Is it desirable for the you to get this? No, it's not. It's not desirable for thought to get this. Is it desirable for your thinking to get this, Sebastian?
No.
No. Your job is not to be this or that, not to do this, just to be. What's your job, Sebastian?
Be. To be.
To be. Does it take any effort to be?
No.
No, you're already that. The only effort you need is to stop taking yourself to be this, that, thinking here, there, going outwards. You've got to turn within. Within means not without. Within just means don't go out to the body, mind, world. Yeah, that's the ego. That's the extroverted mind. Have you read Who Am I, Sebastian?
Do you mean the Nisgadatta one?
No, the Ramana one.
No, but I'm familiar with a lot of Ramana's work, but I've not read that specific book, no.
I'll message it to you.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome. It's got it's got all the teaching you need in it.
Yeah.
It's got all the basic elements of the teaching in there. There are a few other elements that aren't in there that you'll find in the link I'll send you as well. But most of you will know the 3 texts I'm talking about, won't you? When I talk about Ramana's 3 texts, the 3 main texts that contain all the teachings you know. One is Who Am I? These are all written by Ramana himself. One is Who Am I? In Tamil, Nanya. One is 40 verses on reality, which is 40 verses on reality. And Ulladu Narpadu in Tamil. Now, Ulladu Narpadu is interesting because the entire teaching is given over 40 verses, but the first 2 preliminary verses to introduce a text contain the entire teaching. The entire teaching is just in the first 2 introductory verses of 40 verses of reality. And then the third text is Upadesa Saram, which means the essence of the teachings. It's got 30 verses in it, and it just outlines the first 15 verses outline the entire teaching. And then the second 15 verses just talk about self-inquiry. The first 15 verses gives you an overview of the entire path, from purification, different levels of purification, through to insight. If you look up any of those 3 texts on tomdas.com, what I've done now, I've made a PDF of each of those 3 texts available for download for free from tomdas.com. And on each of those, you'll see the links to the other 2 texts as well. So whichever one you find, you'll see the links to the other 2. Okay. Of those 3 texts, Who Am I is the only one written in prose. It's written as a practical set of instructions. The other 2 are written in verse. So they're very concise teachings. Upadesa Saram gives you the overview of the teaching in verse form. And Ulladu Narpadu, the 40 verses of reality, again, it goes into the more philosophical aspects of the teaching as well as practical aspects of the teaching, over 40 verses. But the entire teaching is given in the first 2 verses. But Who Am I is unique because it's prose. It's written as we would speak rather than in verse. So it's particularly beneficial. So if anyone hasn't read those, please read them, study them. Slowly, slowly, no rush. No rush. Slowly, slowly, take it in sentence by sentence, paragraph by paragraph. See the nuances that are there. As I say, we are blessed to have Ramana's teachings. Totally blessed, because he condensed the huge volumes and volumes and volumes of teachings into just very, very small, concise texts, distilling just what we need to know. No more. Sometimes when I read Who Am I thought, why is he writing this? Why is he writing that? Isn't that just a waste of time writing this, writing that? And then something would happen in my life, and that teaching, which I thought was extra and wasn't needed, worked. So he's giving you just enough. It's amazing how the teachings are not too much and not too little.